Hello everybody, my name's Ricky and welcome to the Games I Love, where I go through my personal board gaming collection and tell you why I love playing each and every one of them. And seeing as this is the first episode, I thought I had to think of a board game that not only sort of introduced me back into board gaming, because I used to play it when I was a lot younger, and also it was one of the first board games that I actually purchased, and well, what a good way to start off with pretty much one of the most well-known and easily recognisable board games out there, Carcassonne. Now, if you've never played Carcassonne before, don't worry, I'm going to be going through how you play the game, and then once I've done that, I'll come back to here and I'll give you my final thoughts on why I love playing Carcassonne. Okay, here we have a general setup for the game Carcassonne. Obviously, I'm only showing you one player, but this goes up 2 to 5 players, but the general setup is basically exactly the same. You'll see that every player has these little meeples, which is the first board game to introduce these little fellas, and so many other board games have taken suit of that and used the meeples in themselves. But this is the first game that features them. So you have 8 in total, but one of them will always be on the score track here. So yeah, this big old chunky board here is how you keep track of the scores of the game, because, well, the goal of the game is to essentially get more points than the other player, and you do this by playing these tiles here. Now, you always start off with this tile that has a different coloured back to the other ones in the game, and if I turn it over, it basically shows you everything, well, pretty much everything that the game has to offer. So on this tile you have a field, a road, and a city. When you pick up a tile, and everyone will pick up a tile simultaneously, so they have one in their hands, keeping it secret from the other players, once you've placed a tile and it's your turn, you put it down on the table any way you see fit. You can do it any configuration you want. I'll just start off with that. And then if you choose to, you can take one of your little meeples here and you can either place it on a road, on a city, or laying down in a field. I'll get back onto that in a second, but essentially these are highwaymen, soldiers for the cities, and farmers for the fields. Now, why do you want to do that? Well, that's the way that you score points in this game. So, once I place this little dude here, that road is now my own. So, when it comes to my next turn, and I find, oh, there you go, another tile here, if I'm able to complete this road, let's see if I can find a roads tile here that allows me to complete it. I'm probably not going to now. Come on, where are you? Ah, there we go. Right, so if I was to say on my turn, complete the road, so as you can see, this road is connecting up to 2 little villages here, you will score that road. So it's 1 point for every road tile that is in the completed road. So for this example, I'll score 3 points. Easy as. Cities work exactly the same as a road, so if I placed my little meeple here, that would be now my city, and once I complete the city, I'll score 2 points per city tile that has been used. So I'll use this as an example on my next turn. If I was to place this city tile here, this city is now considered complete, and I'll get 4 points, like so. Again, very basic scoring there. Obviously, the bigger the city, the more points you're going to get, which is pretty obvious. Another way that you can score is, as I've said, you can use a farmer, which you place your meeple face down on the tile here, because normally, once you've scored a road or a city, you gain your little meeple back and put it back into the supply. However, if you use a farmer, that meeple is there for the rest of the game, and he only scores points, 3 points to be exact, for every completed city that is within a field. So if I was to do this, for example, you'll see that this would be classed as that farmer's field because it's enclosed within these roads. This field here does not count. If on later turns this eventually gets connected up, it would also be the same, but it's only the completed cities within that field that will score you 3 points. Incomplete cities do not count. And the final way that you can score points, and I did have it here, was the chapel. So with the chapel, again, you can place your little meeple on there, but you only score points, and this is just going to be a rough draft, so excuse me, because obviously this is an illegal move. You can't place road or city tiles there on an empty field because that does not count. But say if I was to completely surround let's see how I can do this here. Well, I can't really. If, yeah, so if I can completely surround this chapel, again, take these tiles with a pinch of salt, but once you've completely surrounded the chapel, you will score 9 points per tile. So it's one of the best ways of scoring points, but it also can be one of the trickiest. Again, this won't be allowed because, you know, you need a city to connect to a city, etc, etc. That is essentially the game. That is Carcassonne. There is some end game scoring, so any incomplete roads get you 1 point per tile that have been used with one of your meeples on. You'll score a point for every incomplete city tile that has your meeple on it, and you'll also score points based on if you have a chapel and you have incomplete tiles around it. So in other words, if you weren't able to completely surround it, so for example, if this was my chapel, I would score 3 points because I've managed to surround it in 2. So there we go, that is the game. Everyone's going to take turns placing their tiles down, completing their cities, scoring points, and obviously whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. Now, there is obviously going to be a chance, and quite highly, that someone is going to score more than 50 points. When you do, you simply put this scoring meeple face down so you can see that that person has scored 50 points or more. That is it. I'm just going to go over briefly the 2 mini expansions in the game, and then I'll come back for my final thoughts on why I love playing Carcassonne. Okay, so here we have the 2 mini expansions that come in this Carcassonne box. You've got the Abbot and the River. I'll go over the Abbot first and then the River next. So, as you can see, the Abbot looks slightly different from the other meeples, and he has slightly different abilities to him. He can be used like any other meeple in the game, and he can also go onto chapels as per this. But you'll notice that some tiles have a garden on them. He's the only guy that can go on a garden. And a garden works exactly the same way as a chapel. You have to completely surround it before you can score points on it. However, the Abbot is slightly different. If this was my turn, and I knew I couldn't be able to completely surround this chapel, instead of placing a meeple on my turn, I can instead take my Abbot off the chapel or the garden and instantly score points for those tiles. So it's another neat little thing that gives you a little bit more chance of scoring points if you feel like you're not going to be able to. And the second mini expansion is the River. You get 12 river tiles, and you always start placing the river tiles before you start playing the normal tiles in the game. You always have to start with the source of the river, and again, you can place it any way you see fit, and then players will take it in turns, putting these river tiles down. And as you can see, there are certain tiles that have roads and cities on them, and as per normal Carcassonne rules, if you place that tile down, you can put a meeple down and that will become your road. Now, you have to follow the rules of the river in that you can't overlap or go back on your river. It has to keep on flowing down, a bit like a normal river per se. So there we go, there's a city. So if this was my turn, I could place a meeple on a city there. There we go. Let's keep on doing that. Oh, that would be a good one if I get that completed. There you go. There's even a garden tile on there, so I could place my Abbot on there, and that will be my garden from then on. Oh, blimey, that would be a really good city if I managed to finish that off. And there you go. There's even a chapel there if you wanted to do that as well. And you always finish with the source tile. So there we go. That is the river completed. Once all the tiles are laid down, you will then continue playing the game as per normal. So if it's anyone's turn, they can literally start placing next to any of these river tiles and play the game as per normal. So there you go. There's the Abbot and the River expansion for Carcassonne. Right, let's go back up top and I'll tell you why I love Carcassonne. So there you have it. There is Carcassonne and its 2 mini expansions, the River and the Abbot. Now, this is pretty much one of the most recognisable board games out there, as I've already said, and so many people enjoy playing this, myself included. I mean, it says right on the box here, more than 10 million games and expansions sold, and I'm sure that by this time it's going to be even more than that. I think the reason why I love playing this game is that it just appeals to so many different people. Whether you're a newbie, a pro, just got into gaming, or you've been gaming for years and years, this one just fits like totally well. The simplicity of the game, I think, is what lends it to that. Literally anyone can pick up and play this in a matter of minutes, and it's still enjoyable to play. There's a little bit of sort of skill involved. I mean, the luck is obviously there with the with you picking up the tiles. You might not get the one that you want, but there's always an opportunity for you to score points, and there's always going to be an opportunity for each and every tile that you pick up. I've never played a game where someone's picked up a tile and gone, I can't place that, I don't know what to do. And the mini expansions, they're a good little addition to this into this game. They don't add a drastic amount to it, but it gives you just a little bit extra if you want to go ahead and play it. Now, I suppose one minor negative that you could say about Carcassonne is that some people would say that it's too simple of a game. Well, I mean, to be fair, we all started off somewhere. We all needed to get into board gaming at some point, and you know what? Carcassonne was the way to do it. Admittedly, it doesn't get as much love as it used to because I've just got so many other games in my collection, but every now and again I'll just say, especially to my wife who loves playing this as well, do you fancy a game of Carcassonne? Be like, yeah, let's just get it out. And the fast game time as well means you could just get this out and play it in like half an hour or so. The great thing is that it plays so well in all player counts as well, mainly because, again, with the simplistic rules and explanations of the game. So there you go. That is why I love playing Carcassonne. Thanks for watching the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back soon with another game that I love playing. Until then, happy gaming, and I'll see you soon.